Alright, so continuing on, let's go ahead and start breaking up some of this, some of the solid colors I want to say that are going on with this vehicle. Now, I know we can roughen up some of this edging where that's going on for the piping, but let's take care of these headlights first, since that was something that we wanted to get done earlier. So one of the first things I like to do is I will go ahead and we'll do some masking again. So masking is kind of our friend here. So let's go ahead and we're going to mask out these headlights here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some random color over this because I can't really see it. Actually, I'll just delete this mask right now. So I'll go to remove mask and I'm just going to start painting some color, flooding it in. It's going to look bad, but once we mask it off, it'll clean it up real nice. So what we need is this is going to be white to not a completely full white, but let's grab a dynamic and I'm just going to put a little bit of color behind it. Just subtle enough. Okay. So let's make sure that we're painting it. Okay, we got painting on both sides. We got the front too. Let's go to the rear and let's work on a red for brake lights. Cool. And we know that these brake lights, I lost my train of thought there for a second. We know that material is going to probably be a plastic covering for both of these. So I don't think we're in plastic, but we could check. So there we go. There's our plastic base. So again, I can come into plastic base and I can change out the color to what I want this to be, but I don't know where it was in this, but I can actually just pick it. Like clicking, dragging, and I've picked that color again. So if we repaint it, now it's actually inherited that material. So same thing over with the tail lights. I don't know where the color is, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab, I like that red, and we'll just paint that in again. So that's looking a little rough there. Let's make this a little bit more bright in color, I want to say, since it's a plastic. Alright, it's coming out pretty dark. Oops. Let's rotate this scene around. Okay, never mind, it wasn't me, it was just the lighting, because it had a shadow falling on it, but it's up there. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to grab another mask and let's add a black mask to this and let's start painting in what we need. So we need white. I'm going to grab a few of these to know where I'm painting things at. Again, because our UVs are stacked, that they're going to inherit all the same selections. And I'm only selecting a few polygons so I can find it in the top-down view. So there's our front headlights. I'm going to select that UV shell by going to UV. I'm going to select the UV shell. And so let's find our brake lights, and there's our brake lights back here. So, oops, not the whole thing. I just want the following faces. Great. So checking back here again on our model view. It's looking pretty good so far. So also in this masking, I want to mask off this piping. So let's go to UV selection, and I'm going to select the entire piping. Because I'm going to roughen out some of the piping, like this has been worn, this has been exposed to the air, it's been used a bit. And let's start painting some of that in there. So I know it's a type of material. I can't remember what material it was, but I do believe if we go to our eyedropper tool at the top here, we can actually go to material picker, and if we pick this, it'll try to match our material that we were last using. So again, if we were that's masked off, so if we were painting this, it's going to match it. If we're painting on that, it matches it again and paints over the last material. I'm only going to want to affect the roughness values. I don't want to mess with metallic, nor do I want to mess with color. So I can click on any of these boxes here and it'll bring up the different channels I'm going to be editing. So let's turn off color, let's turn off metal, and we don't really need any height information because it's not really it's not like it's been warped metal or anything like that. So I'm just going to start painting in some roughness values. I do know for my brush, I want to change it up to a different type of alpha. So we can change up the angle of our brush. We can change out the size, flow, and spacing. You can easily change all these by holding down Control. We can right click and that'll increase size, decrease size. We're holding down right click, we left click on it, and if we drag up and down, that'll change our flow amount. So like how much opacity or how much is actually being applied in terms of color. And our spacing is kind of acting like here's our dots. It's a great way to like do patterns that stretch along a surface. So I'm going to make this a 5 or 0 because I want it to be a solid fill. I'm going to bring down my opacity a bit. And for my backface culling, so you can turn that on and off so you're not painting anything behind it. We have it masked out so we don't have to worry about that. For the alpha, we can select a number of different alphas that'll give us different results, and let's go with the scratches. So let's scale this down and let's just start painting. Alright, so I'm not getting an effect. The reason being is because my roughness value has not been changed at all. So let's give it a little bit higher roughness, and you can preview all that on the node up here. And by clicking and dragging up here, you can actually preview where the how rough the material is starting to look. So it's kind of difficult to see right now. If I turn on, there we go. If I turn on the metal value, it'll be a lot more apparent what's going on. So in our roughness value, we can up the roughness a bit, and we can paint that in. Yep. So now it's solid fill. Not really what I want, because I want to be able to have a randomness going on for my pattern. So I can up the spacing amount, and that'll just kind of apply it as I go. It's not a bad alpha. I'm not liking this alpha too much. Let's go with something within our library. So let's find our alphas here, and nope. In our brushes, we can do a number of things too with the brushes. So okay, so our brush was going to affect what's going on here. So our alpha, again, we can bring up the scratches, and that'll give us a little bit more options here. So back down to roughness. Let's bring our roughness back up a bit, making some light changes, and we can bring down how much stroke is going, or how much opacity is going on, and we're lightly just buffering away at this metal. So it's not a solid like fill of chrome where it looks like it's brand new almost. So easily just going around the edges, trying not to paint over any of our color information we have on the pipes. We can darken this up too if we want by enabling our color. And let's just darken this down just a little bit, but not a whole bunch. There we go. Now it's starting to look like something. So I'm going to go in with a different brush type. I'm going to go with Artistic 3. Let's take a look at Artistic 4. Yeah, a lot of these brushes have some awesome results. That's a pretty good one there. We got dirt. That's kind of what we're going for. So let's bring on our opacity again. And because I don't have the steadiest of hands, but I just let most of the program do it for me. As it's facing towards traffic, let's roughen that up a bit. Now, if we added too much, we can easily erase this without any work being undone from the underlying stuff. So we can hit E. Again, same controls. We can erase, and we can change out the alpha and what we're using, and we can change out the brush strokes too. So with our alpha, let's select some randomness here. Let's grow our selection a bit. I want to bring some of that back. Okay, so let's go back to brush mode again, or we'll continue roughing out the edges of this exhaust piping up here. Definitely, it's not dark enough for my liking, so I'm going to make it a lot darker now, make it more apparent. Alright, going to a black. Alright, there we go. Now it's looking like it's been used. I'll spread out my opacity a bit more. And again, if I can't get in there, I can easily... Oh wow, I zoomed in too much. You can push F to go back out. Let's roughen that side out a bit more. Pipes end up together here. Kind of looks like it's burned or used, weathered, however you want to say it. I have oxidized. That's the correct word. That's the word I was looking for. It's 4:30. I might end up stopping after this video. Can't think too much straight anymore. And all right. Cool. Looks like our vehicle's gone through some use for its exhaust pipes. Lightly applying it to here. I'm breaking it up because I don't want it to look like it's brand new metal. Awesome. Alright, almost done here with this piping. Underneath it a bit more. I'm gonna put a very good amount of breakup on the top of this. Oh, I can't do it because it's not applied to the mask. So let's add that in. There we go. And once we got it added into our mask, we saw the results pop up immediately. So if you want to drag in a straight line, you can easily just go ahead and click. You can hold down Shift, and whenever you're clicking back and forth, it would draw in a straight line, but our opacity is pretty low, so we're not going to see any immediate results. Since this part may have been stepped on quite a bit, I have a lot more wear on here than we would on the other side, underside. And I have a good amount of usage on the end here, since this is the exhaust. Alright, a little bit in the insides. Let's go ahead and do the same with the steps here. I'm going to add those in. You already see I've added them because I saw some change there in the roughness. Up my opacity a bit more. There we go. Flow control, I should say. And breaking up the evenness on this to make it look like it's got some wear on it, especially in the center parts. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Alright, cool. Okay, so we've added this body frame, I could tell in the alpha, so let's get rid of that. There we go. Back to paint mode. And let's see, did I exclude out the rear taillights? Yes, I did. The taillights were excluded. Okay, I think I need to go back to another fill layer and fill some of that in, but it's just kind of copy and paste. It's kind of like redoing the same work we've already been doing for a minute. Alright. It's looking like a brand new vehicle almost, so let's go in and break up a little bit of the front on this vehicle as well. So let's add those in. Let's start painting away. Now I don't know if the symmetry, if these share the same space. If they don't, it gives me an opportunity to go ahead and break up some of the mirroring effects. Very nice. Underside's a little bit more rough than the other body parts. Okay, so we're getting some uniqueness here because these parts do not share the same UV space. So it allows us to break up the bumper that much more, make it more unique to itself. Alright, so let's add in this part here. Let's turn on symmetry so we're adding both pieces in. Probably going to see, yes, so white's on, shell's on. There we go. We saw some roughness kick in once we turn that into the next masking mode. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I think make it look like it's burned out. Pretty nice. Actually, I like that effect. That was a happy accident. Cool. Alright. So we can break up the inner side a little bit too. Add that in. There we go. Hopefully that should just paint on there. There we go. So let's paint some more details on the bottom of this. Give it some usage in its vehicle life. We're going to have to mask out that body again. Let's go ahead and add that in. Nope, we're adding it to paint, which we do not want, so let's get rid of that. Let's add in, there we go. It's kind of hit and miss every once in a while on the adding and taking away of shells into your masking layers. Okay, so last thing, we got a bumper back here. Let's add that. Okay, we didn't add it. Let's go. There we go. I'm not going to break this up too hard. I'm going to be pretty light for the top here. Oops, a little too much. Alright, it's starting to look pretty good. Uh-oh. Alright, so let's exclude out this upper shell here. There we go. I think our back still shouldn't have anything on it. Double check all that. And alright. Okay, so for the next part, I'm going to call this pretty much good to go at this point within the Substance Painter. Once we do this, we can move this into Substance Designer, and we can start giving it a lot of its base attributes that we can then expose our parameters for, and then we can move it into Unreal. So we'll stop the Painter video from here, and we'll go to Substance Designer in the next set of videos. So we'll see you then.